Hey YouTube, hey guys, it's Martin here. I just want this is probably take 30 of all these videos that I tried to do for this particular topic here. So hopefully this is the final cut. I want to talk about the big cichlid fish. I want to talk about the Texas cichlid. If you have a couple minutes to spare, we'll talk about the Texas cichlid. I'll talk about the Oscar cichlid. I'll talk about um, the zebra cichlid, which is the Topila buttercoffee cichlid, the flower horn, and one of the smaller cichlids, which is called the Venusa cichlid. I wanted to talk about tank aggression and how these fish are aggressive towards each other, and how my experience showed me which fish I cannot keep together and why. Let me start with the Texas cichlid. Absolutely beautiful cichlid. You can see them in the back, right in there, just swimming into the decoration. And even the big fish need decorations, right? They do love it. So the Texas cichlid is extremely aggressive, but only two other big fish um, that are roughly its size. It tops out, I think, at about um, 16 inches or 18 inches or so. Um, I'll stay away from giving you exact size quotes, but roughly somewhere around there. The um, the cichlid is aggressive towards big fish, but not towards the smaller fish, like other smaller cichlids that are roughly 5, 6 inches and grow to about 9 inches. He has absolutely no aggression towards those fish whatsoever in my tank. But the minute you put an Oscar that's his size, he will kill the Oscar. He's a much more powerful fish than the Oscar fish. And even though my Texas grew up pretty much in the same tank as the Oscar fish, the minute that the Texas got to the same size, or roughly the same size as my Oscar fish, it started attacking it and wanted to kill it for tank superiority. So that's one fish I cannot keep with my other cichlids, because the minute I saw it doing that, I saw it do that, fight the flower horn, I saw it fight the zebra cichlid. It is a bit of a relentless fighter. It'll keep feeding off the gravel. So any food you drop into the tank, some of it lands in the gravel. It'll sift. The Texas cichlid sifts through the gravel. It gets a lot faster growth that way because it eats a lot doing that. Versus the Oscar, who only pretty much eats what you drop into the tank. Once it falls to the bottom, it doesn't really go after it too much, unlike the Texas cichlid. So it'll outgrow a lot of fish that way, a lot faster. And the minute it, like I said, reaches the same size or so, it'll start lip locking and fighting and wanting to kill the other fish. It wants to be the superior fish in the tank to basically, it's a natural, I guess it's a natural habit of the fish to be the boss of the tank or the pond or whatever the case may be. Now, moving on to the zebra cichlid. That cichlid is not as aggressive. It does get along just fine with my Oscar fish. It rose to about 16 inches or so. Now, I don't think I've seen it attack too much, except for the very beginning. It had a little bit of an attacking spurt. Um, I think it was aggressive towards my flower horn. It does not like the flower horn fish. So otherwise, it gets along with pretty much everybody except Venustus fish. It doesn't like the Venustus too much. You could chase the Venustus fish all day. It's the only fish I had that was large and would chase it, but I mean, it doesn't really have the power to kill it, but it would chase it constantly. Just not a very good combination. Now, the other fish is the flower horn. The flower horn, as soon as it starts developing this big hump over its head, it starts getting aggressive, and that fish has a similar feeding habit to the Texas cichlid, where it will eat pretty much anything you drop in the tank, but when it runs out of food, it's like a little piggy. It'll go through the bottom. It'll flip decorations around. That's how hungry that fish gets. And the bigger the hump, the bigger the fish, the more aggressive it gets. So a lot of people, you see them in videos, they just have the flower horn by itself in the tank and nothing else with it because it's that hungry, it's that aggressive. And it has this huge hump that it uses to hit the side of the fish and basically to burst its air bubble inside. And when it does that, the fish it bursts, can't swim up and down, and basically dies when that happens. So those are the main big fish. And the Venustus fish, I wanted to bring that fish up because it's an extremely fast fish. It can hide in the decorations extremely quickly, and that's the reason why it was able to survive with all these big fish in my tank, as I had them all in the tank growing up together until they grew up. Now, the Oscar fish and the Texas fish had to be separated. You will see, I said in the tank behind me, all I have for a big fish in there is the Texas cichlid, and I have a lot of 5-6 inch cichlids in there. The Venustus are in there, and he is absolutely peaceful. The Texas cichlid is absolutely peaceful when he is the biggest fish in the tank. There's really no aggression towards my other 5-inch cichlids or so on. Any cichlids that get up to about 9 inches, he does not get too aggressive with. So the other mention, I said it's hard to get more than one Oscar in the same tank together. There's always some kind of a trick that someone did that they won't tell you to get these Oscars to be together in the same tank. For me, it was the Venustus fish. My Oscar fish was fairly aggressive, especially if I put in any fish that could rival it, and it would like any second Oscar fish that would be roughly the same size, it would pretty much go out of its way to fight that other Oscar and try to kill it. It does not want another male Oscar in the same tank. Depends on the size of your tank, but roughly that's what happens is people might get 2 Oscars like I did at the beginning, and one will try to kill the other. And that's the reason why is tank superiority, right? Whoever gets that gets the first dibs at the food and gets the prime spot in the tank where it can wait for food and so forth. So how the Venustus helped with that is the Venustus fish taught my Oscar to basically not that there's no need to kill something smaller because it's too fast. the smaller fish was too fast and it hides, right? So once it got used to that idea, once my big 10-inch Oscar got used to that idea that it doesn't really have to, or it can't kill the other fish, in time, that left a little bit of a window open for me to introduce a smaller Oscar fish into the tank, which was roughly 6 inches, 5.5, 6 inches, which was just over half the size of the 10-inch Oscar. So when that happened, of course, obviously my big 10-inch Oscar would definitely chase the smaller Oscar for maybe a day or half a day or so. But given that you have some decorations, there is places to hide, and the fact that the Venustus fish introduced the idea that, hey, it's smaller, it doesn't have to be killed, because it's not really a rival for the prime spot in the tank. That did do the trick, and that helped me have 2 Oscars in the tank. The minute that happened, it's really easy after that to add on another Oscar. But the initial idea was, once you have an Oscar that grew up by itself as the primary boss of the tank, it's really hard to introduce another Oscar into the tank unless you use some sort of a trick. So I really thank the Venustus fish for helping me with that. Even though they're no longer in the same tank together, my Oscars are now all in a 120-gallon tank with a zebra buttercoffery cichlid that has no problems getting along with them. Unfortunately, the flower horn is a whole different story. Like I said, that fish will lip lock with every other fish. And what I mean by lip lock is these big fish, when they get challenged, they challenge each other by basically locking lips, and they'll try and tear and damage the other fish's lip. And they do that first to see who has the most powerful lip. The bigger your lip, the better. So the flower horn has a huge lip, and it knows how to damage the other fish's lip. It's extremely aggressive. Now, what it does is, like I said, it will push. Once it locks lips, if it's the bigger, the more powerful fish, which the flower horn is pretty much bred for that, it'll push the other fish back until it gives in. Once the other fish gives in, that gives it the go-ahead to go ahead and kill it and start hitting it on the side. And the flower horn has that huge hump, like I mentioned, that will easily do that a lot faster than the other fish can do it. So that flower horn will fight with anybody. It'll lip lock with any fish once it starts getting big and aggressive. There is ways to keep them with other cichlid fish, but that's something you'll have to try if you really feel like it. I at this point have mine almost alone in the tank, just with a very select big fish in there that I showed in the other videos, called the pacu, which will grow to about 3 feet long. So that fish can take a bit of a beating. Although my zebra fish absolutely hated the pacu, which I should have brought the pacu up at the beginning. That's another fish I wanted to talk about. So that's the talk. I wanted to talk about aggression and the way that the fish are towards each other, and how they get so big so quick. And good luck to you. Watch my videos. You'll see how they related to each other, why the Texas cichlid is alone in the tank by itself, why my Oscar fish is upstairs in my 120-gallon with the zebra fish, and why the flower horn is alone in this tank with the pacu at the moment. That seems to be the best combinations I have at the moment for fish, and something that you can watch and know that they're not going to kill each other. Uh, the one thing I wanted to mention is when you watch these videos of these fish lip locking and fighting, there's a lot of people that have a lot of big fish and they keep them just for that. They want to watch these fish get aggressive towards each other and lip lock, which is, fun for some people to watch. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes fish get angry even though they're in the same tank and they lip lock. That's fine. But when your fish are constantly doing it, that's basically an indication that they're fighting for who's the boss of the tank is. And when that happens, if one fish loses, it'll likely keep getting beat up on. And unless you know how to separate them or have some decorations or something like that, one will likely kill the other. And you'll see a lot of videos where people have fish lip locking, and then eventually there's some comments later on, oh, this fish killed that fish, and so on. And the minute your fish start lip locking, it's an indication something's not right. They're one's trying to outdo the other, and I try to avoid that in my tanks as much as possible, and you can never do it completely if you do have big, large fish together, but I found one way to eliminate it for me was to have the Venustus fish around. They're very good, very fast, very durable fish too, and these big guys, they can chase them around when they're bored and relieve some aggression that way. All right, so that's a little bit of a talk from me about my big cichlid fish tanks and the big cichlid fish. I love them all, and I hope they all stay healthy. I hope your fish are healthy. I hope you comment and let me know your stories about your big cichlid fish and tanks, and if you have similar fish like the Oscar, the Texas, the zebra, the flower horn, let me know. Talk about it. Post your video links at the bottom. Any and more information for anybody that watches this video is the better for the hobby and for the learning curve that we all go through. So thanks very much. Give it a like if you like the video. Subscribe if you have not subscribed. Check out my other videos if you just want to do that. That's fine too. Good luck.